How are we doing? The deck below is Historic Kethis Combo. Um, this is one of the combo decks that I've seen a lot in Historic. Super sweet. The videos that you're going to see are actually going to be kind of funny because I recorded all the games and, like a noob, didn't have a voice. So that's a thing that happened. So I basically had to do post-game commentary, which I remember seeing other people do. Um, and always imagine being frustrated by that. So yes, it is frustrating having to do an hour of gameplay over again. But this combo is so sweet, and I really enjoy it. So I should say this deck is so sweet because the deck is actually twofold, and you're going to see that in some of these videos. So it's built around the Kethis of the Hidden Hand. So it's a 3 mana 3/4, which is super sweet, right? It's a solid body. Legendary spells cost one less, which is something that I forget about. But you exile 2 legendary cards from your graveyard, and then you can cast other legendary cards from your graveyard. So, how does this deck work? Well, we've got this awesome combo: Diligent Excavator and Excavator. Yes, that's how you say it. I've been calling it Excavator. Excavator and Mox Amber to fill the graveyard again. Got Fibblethip, Lazav. This deck is a little bit different than the Team Breach deck in that it is less of a linear streamlined combo deck. It doesn't combo as quickly or as well as the Breach combo. I'm not playing Emery cards like that, but Teferi and Oath are just excellent, just controlling cards while also filling the graveyard. Uro is also an awesome card in here, just giving us a big beater that gains life, draws cards, plays lands. Tamio is just kind of a key piece in these combo decks, getting cards. Ultimately, so you want to basically fill your graveyard, use Kethis' ability, play your lands, loop your Moxes. When you've played them, you use Kethis' ability again. Put some more cards into the graveyard, use Kethis' ability again. Keep doing it until all of the cards in your deck are gone, and then you play Jace, draw a card, and win. Another benefit is Urza's Ruinous Blast, which exiles everything except for Excavator are all legendary. So pretty sweet. In the sideboard, I'm not a pro, so this sideboard may be absolute trash. I've got 2 blasts. Tashar, I guess, against attritional decks. Ashiok against control. Grasp against maybe Teferi and green decks. Legion Zen against field, because we're not particularly fast. Thalia against control as well. So I'm going to take this for a spin. I've already taken it for a spin. But I'm going to get to see some post-game commentary from this deck. All right, let's dive into this post-game commentary. I'm going to be playing against Insane in the Meme Brain, which I thought that was like one of the best names ever. So this opening hand, got the Esper colors, got Mox, Double Oath, and Teferi. So if my opponent is an aggressive deck, I'll be able to gain a decent amount of life with the Oaths. Notice my opponent is in Platinum, so must not have been a lot of people playing on the ladder at this point in time. But I'm surprised because if I could pick between Historic and Standard, one of those players, the good game players. Alright, so I've got Annex, 3 Oath of Kai's, which, that's a lot of life. That's a bunch of life. I'm going to drop the Excavator here. If they remove it, then they spent a removal spell on my 1/3. So I just really need to stall them. Okay, Llanowar Elf. And they're going to bash. Thought about blocking the Llanowar Elf there, but then I figured they probably have Bone Crusher Giant, so I figured, you know what, better not risk it. So we're going to get our land down and play Oath of Kai and take out that Annex. You will get a token, but that is A-okay. Yep. Just going to burn it out. Not sure what he's... Ah, okay. It's a good thing I didn't block that elf then. So I have 2 more Oaths, and I've got 2 Teferi, so I've got plenty of disruption, but the problem is that everything basically casting 1 spell a turn. So, still not going to block, can't really afford to lose my Excavator to them having something random. So, not sure whether to cast Teferi or Oath here. But it's probably... Okay, so I got an Uro in the graveyard. I'm going to go Teferi, just simply because I don't want to get blown out by Colossus again. So, and there's Urza's Ruinous Blast. Now, something with Urza's Ruinous Blast that I was reminded of by, I believe, Mockingbird in the forums when I was just discussing this deck. You can only cast it if you have a legendary creature or a planeswalker. So that's going to come into play in a moment. Just give a little spoiler. So they're going to smash in with Spellbreaker. Oath of Kaya, this happened a number of times playing against Gruul with Oath of Kaya, where they attacked Teferi, and Oath of Kaya gained 2 life for me. So, now they're tapped out. Now I can take out their Annex. And one of the cool things about having Excavator out is this whole time I'm killing their stuff, I'm also milling my graveyard. So, if I am able to turn the corner here, I'm going to have a lot of stuff in my graveyard. So, that is worth mentioning. Just going to play the second Mox to get more stuff in the graveyard. Do Militamia, which is kind of unfortunate. I guess it's okay because I don't have green mana up, which is... forgot about that part. I didn't end up drawing any green lands, which if you don't draw a green land, then you can't play Tamio, which means you can't get stuff back. But so they're swinging all out. I'm just going to start taking out their 1/1s here. I would like to Urza's Ruinous Blast, and they're all tapped out. This would be a blowout blast, but as you can see, that Mox is essentially dead. So what I will do is I'm going to play the Oath of Kaya, and there's a Kethis, but again, I don't have the mana to cast him, which is unfortunate. So, I do mill my Kethis, which actually that was the right... I'm glad that that happened. In the moment, I was a bit distraught because, oh, I just lost my major combo piece, but in reality, I don't have green mana. I don't have a way of getting green mana. So, my thought was, oh, I've got Urza's Ruinous Blast. I finally am at 5 mana, but just watch. So they draw another Colossus. That is okay, because now I can Urza's Ruinous Blast. But, nope. Need a Planeswalker or a Legendary Creature. So, my Blast is essentially useless. But, this is something cool that you can do with Oath of Kaya. Esper players do this a lot. Teferi, bounce Oath, kill something. So, pretty legit. So Spellbreaker, they'll be able to take out Teferi and bash for 4. At this point, I still don't have green mana. I gained 2 life, so I'm actually only taking 2. But I have no green mana, so I have no plays. Lazav was a big pickup. And I think just what I'm going to do is... Yep, there's an Uro in the graveyard, I believe. Yes. So I think I'm just going to turn Lazav into a 6/6. And also the Scry ability will let me see if I can get a green land. Nope. So, gotta get rid of Fibblethip there. And I'm gonna turn Lazav into a 6/6. Which is really cool. Now, you could make the argument that I turn him into Kethis, but I think I'd rather just get the Massive Titan online which is a really cool play. Lazav is an interesting creature. He doesn't strike you as a super powerful, but he can do some stuff that not everything can do. I promise my actual commentary during the game was a lot better than this, but what can you do? So they have 5 power on board. I'm at 13, they're at 14, so I think this may have stopped their assault. The fact that they mulliganed to 5 obviously was kind of the deal breaker, but the fact that I haven't drawn green mana may have equalized it. So it would be interesting to try a build that is 4-color Lazav and then the 2 Titans, and then see if I can mill the Titans and then turn Lazav into them. That would be an interesting deck. So 4 Lazavs, 4 Uros, 4 Kroxa. That'd be blue-green, red-black. It'd be an interesting deck. You could use Mire Triton to put cards into the graveyard. Currently, Historic doesn't have really good ways of putting stuff into the graveyard, which is unfortunate. So at this point, I forgot about this. At this point, I have a 6/6, and I think my opponent just rage quit. So we're just going to sit here for a couple minutes. I just believe that they have left the building. So I think it is worth noting that Gorilla is one of the best decks in the format, I would say. I've lost to it way more than I've beat it. But just notice how this is a combo deck. I've talked about the combo in the previous video. I didn't combo. I just killed a lot of stuff and played a bunch of big blockers. And I think that's one of the differences that between this deck and the Underworld Breach deck. So I'm going to be able to attack with Uro here. There we go. Finally. And at this point, pretty much game over. So, get another Lazav. And my opponent's just going to kind of sit here and I don't know what he's doing. It's kind of unfortunate, but what can you do? I actually really enjoyed playing this deck. It's probably not the best deck in the format, or even close, but there's a lot of decisions to make and a lot of choices and places to go. But for now, we're just gonna kind of sit here and look at the battlefield and admire it. It's a beautiful battlefield, right? Beautiful battlefield. All right, so that right there was just me ranking up to gold 2. So now we're on to match number 2. So I've got my Esper colors. I think I'm going to keep. The temples are a bit slow, but I've got my colors. I've got a 2-drop, potentially a 3-drop depending on what lands I draw, and then Jace, which I'm not going to be able to cast Jace for a while, and Pelt Collector. That's not what I want to see. Okay, so Excavator's going to make a good play on turn 2, and I can follow it up with Oath of Kaya on turn 3. So not bad at all. My opponent, Mike Brown, had a pretty fast start here. Pelt Collector into Zertog Goblin. And if he draws Skrill Spellbreaker here, that's 9 damage that I can't really block because I don't want to lose my Jeez. Wow. Okay. So this is probably the most ideal aggro start in Historic right now. Is Pelt Collector into Goblin into Spellbreaker. This is the zoo deck of this format. And there's not really much that I'm going to be able to do here. I can Oath of Kaya to take out one of their players, but then they're going to swing for 6 and potentially have Embercleave. So I play Oath. I take out the Pelt Collector because the other 2 are going to stay 3/3s, but Pelt Collector can get bigger if they play a 4/4 Ogre or a Questing Beast. And they 100% have the 4 mana for Ember Cleave. And there it is. Yep, they're highlighting their character. There it is. Alright, so that was a quick game one. They're going to hit me down to 4, and then down to 0. Good game. My computer does struggle to get from the end of the game to the deck building window, but it is what it is. At this point, I was pretty terrified. I don't really know how. I knew I did well against Gruul in the previous match, but that was only one game, and they mulled down to 5. So, kind of nervous how this deck is going to match up against Gruul. I mean, I have answers to it. I've got the Oaths, the Teferis, etc., but Gruul just attacks really quickly and with big guys, so it's kind of scary. So basically going to keep everything the same. Brought in 6 removal spells, and what did I take out? The Fibbletips and an Uro. Taking out the Uro, I don't know if that's necessarily the right decision. It does gain life and draw a card. The problem with Uro is you put 3 mana into it and you essentially get 3 life. And I don't know if that's where I want to be. So I believe I'm just going to remove the Fibbletips. Yep, they're just 2 mana 1/1s. And honestly, now that I look back, I think that's probably the right call. It might be wrong, but Gruul is very efficient with their mana to power. You know, Pelt Collector will give you 3 power. Gruul Spellbreaker is 3 mana for 3 power with haste, etc. So they do a lot with each individual mana, and I don't think I can afford to be fiddling around drawing cards with Fibblethip. So that was my ultimate reasoning. Well, it's more of like a hindsight. It's a lot harder to think logically when you're in the moment. I'm going to be able to play Lazav here. Maybe I can get Scry. At least I'll be able to see what's coming up. Legion's End. That's where I want to be. So, just going to chill. Depending on what they play, I could Mox into Tameo next turn. But, if they Burning Tree into Burning Tree? Nope. Goblin. Okay. So they're not going to hit me for much this turn. So this is a lot slower attack than the last turn. It's amazing the difference between Pelt Collector and Burning Tree Emissary starts. So choosing to Legion's End this turn means that I don't have to take damage off my land. So it's going to be coming up to turn 4, and I have 18 life. So I'm on turn 3 right now, and I've got 18 life. So as someone who's played a lot of aggro, I know what it's like when you're entering your 4th turn and your opponent has 15 life. So if I had another land, I think now that I am watching it behind, I think the right play might be to play Uro. I would take a lot of damage off my land. But I'm just going to Tameo and start digging. Not even sure what to search for here. It's a little bit easier with the Temur Breach version, but I'm just going to go look for Oath of Kaya. Of course, I guess wrong. So with the Temur Breach, you're basically always looking for Excavator or Breach. It's amazing how tired you can get. It's being quarantined is hard work. So this is kind of legit. I can play a 6/6. I also have the option of playing the other Uro and holding up Noxious Grasp. So there are multiple options that are available. I'm just looking for... Probably should have gone Excavator. I guess I'm just going to play a 6/6. Gain a life, draw a card. Draw a card. If I draw land, then I'll be able to play Noxious Grasp with through the Mox, which is kind of cool. triggers. Instead, I just draw another Noxious Grasp, which is fine. I won't complain about drawing my removal spell that kills everything in their deck. So, here comes Questing Beast. I'm choosing to block Spellbreaker because doing that allows my Uro to stick around. Tamiyo does take 4 damage, yes. But, and I didn't even notice I'm down to 3 life. But I think I'm super close to stabilizing here. So I can kill Questing Beast. Yes. Now they do have 2 of the red dinosaurs that stop life gain, which is relevant to notice. I really don't know what I should have named in these cases. Obviously I'm new to the deck. I haven't played it a lot. That's not an excuse, but you know, wow, I didn't even notice I'm at 7 life. Wow. So I can actually play a Mox, play a Lazav, and hold up Noxious Grasp. That's super awesome. Don't think I want that land. So, next turn I can Lazav into Uro again. That's a problem. It is a beater that I cannot interact with. That being said, it is just a 3/3. So, I'm just going to take out the Burning Tree Emissary here. It is a 3-power attacker. So, okay, Oath of Kai was a really good draw here. I don't gain a life, but I will gain life after I attack with my Uro. And that was it. Alright. So again, I didn't combo, I just killed a bunch of their stuff. And we're moving on to the next game. I think I'm probably going to stick the same. What I might do is take out, put back in a Kethis. I'm not exactly sure what I did. Kethis is a blocker, so bringing him back in gives me a 3-mana 3/4, which may not be good enough against Gruul, given the fact that they've got removal, they've got Embercleave, etc. But this is an interesting matchup. It's very interactive. Can't keep a one-lander. I gotta do something to fix my microphone. I don't know why. Like, when I'm sitting here, I can't hear my nose breathing. What was that Legion's End doing? But when I listen back, a lot of times, like, my nose sounds like I'm just, like, wheezing. So, I think I'm going to get rid of the Hallowed Fountain, given the fact that I have an island. Yep. So, okay, they start out with a mountain. That's good. That means no Pelt Collector turn 1, and there's another removal spell. So I have now 3 removal spells, and then Tamiyo. So I can go Legion's End into Oath of Kai into Tamiyo. It's like the best draw in the history of the universe, actually. I have yet to see someone go Burning Tree into Burning Tree into Burning Tree into something. I usually just have one. Maybe once or twice I've seen 2. But regardless, that Pelt Collector is going adios. The removal spells in Standard and Historic, I think are excellent. Like, even consider Legion's End, Noxious Grasp, and Kai's Wrath. Like, none of them seem more powerful than the others. They just have different uses. And I think they've done a really good job at balancing out the strengths of these cards. That's unfortunate. But I do have the Kai's Wrath, but it does keep me from gaining some life. So that's a good card to bring in, I think. Although I guess it does require a fast start. So they do have an Embercleave in hand, which is relevant to know. I think I'm going to play my Tamio. I kind of forgot about the Embercleave, which was unfortunately a mistake. They have Domri's Ambush. So they'd have to draw land and then pay 5 mana to Embercleave, which maybe they'll do. In the moment, I kind of forgot about it. I was more focused on the Domri's Ambush. So can't remember what I named. Kethis seems kind of bad. Uro, which is a creature that I sided one out, so that probably wasn't a smart idea. What I might have wanted to do was go get a removal spell, Oath of Kaya, etc. So he has 5 lands. Again, notice Oath of Kaya is gaining me life. So you're going to be able to take out the Tamio, but
You are setting a bad example.
so that was a good draw. Now I can go Kethis and hold up Noxious Grasp. And if you look in his hand, you will see the card that I've been watching. That is Domri's Ambush. And this is something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. There, he's looking at his creature, my creature. Got him. 2 for 1. So, Domri's Ambush is a very powerful card. I've gotten blown out by it many times where you think, I've stabilized, and then suddenly they Domri ambush your biggest character, and now they've got a big beater on the board. At this point, we've stabilized. I'm gonna have a Jace. Got 5 lands. Kethis on the board. And I draw another Oath of Kaya, so I'm going to draw a card here. It works perfectly that I can actually cast Jace and Oath of Kaya. I'm not going to, but just going to mill myself and draw a card. Yep. And I draw Legion's End. So at this point, it's basically game over. We've exchanged resources. I got the upper hand, especially using that Noxious Grass to take out the, Domri's Ambush, so they're going to concede. So, nice game to my opponent there. Gruul's a good deck, but we got lucky out of that one. Moving on to match number 3. We'll be on the plate against, I see John. This hand, I think this hand's a keep. I am missing green and white. In hindsight, maybe it's not a keep. I'm missing green and white mana, but ultimately with a Teferi and an Uro, if I hit either a green or a white land, then I'm good to go. And basically every land in the deck is a dual land, so the odds of me not hitting another land or hitting another land that's neither green nor white is pretty low. But leave it to Magic to not give you the land that, yep, okay, well, this could be a quick one. Again, a reminder that Mox doesn't tap for any mana, it taps for mana of the color that is already on the battlefield. It is actually a really well-designed spell. I like it a lot. Doesn't mana fix. Yep, that's okay. Yep. So, feeling bad at this moment. The unfortunate part is that my opponent hasn't really done anything, so imagine if I could have hit a land drop through Uro, and then Teferi, and then Jace, I would have been able to win by now. Yeah. So this is the green-black Scape Shift deck. Just still missing lands. This should be a good matchup for me. They're not fast. They're not really interactive. So, but I'm just kind of chilling, not doing anything. Not doing much of anything. So, not sure if they disconnected here or what. They're just kind of okay, so they play Karn. So at this point, they're at 5 land drops. They've got a Planeswalker out. I can't see. Yep, they take out my Mox. So that was a mistake also of playing the Mox. So I probably should have GG'd right there, but figure I'll play Diligent Excavator and hold fast. Because if I had kept the Mox in hand, I could have played. Yep, that's the game. All right, good game, well played. That's a cool deck. I've actually played that against that. I can't talk against that deck recently. So I'm gonna bring in Grasps, I believe. That might be it. Tally's gonna be good. I'm not sure where Tashar comes in. So Ashiok is against control. So yep, I think that's what I'm gonna do. Blast might be good. So I think I'm gonna actually go a little bit lighter, maybe on Teferi or Kethis. Actually, no, Oath of Kai. What am I doing? I don't want Oath of Kai's in my deck. Yep, there we go. So my thought process now is the same as it was then. I am trying to speak like I'm in the present of the video, but let's be real. Alright, so game 2, gonna be on the draw, on the play, rather. This hand could be really good. If I can go Uro into Blast, I can do a lot of damage. So, I'm gonna go Temple. If I were to draw a Diligent Excavator, that would be awesome. I don't think I want another Uro. So we're just going to get rid of that. Uro's a super cool card. I really like it. I think I was talking earlier about making a Titan Brew. I actually was recording earlier, then I took a break. So I've come back. Draw that land, kind of put it into play tapped. I've got all my colors, so should be good. Dryad. Ooh, Duress. That hurts. That's rough. Can't take my Uro, though. They can... Yep. It's a good call. Well played. My opponent is playing interaction. You gotta respect that. Something about Historic that I appreciate is decks have just grown up. A lot of standard decks are just either they're spam something, either spam counterspells, or spam creatures, or spam planeswalkers. But Historic, you can't just do that, because you'll just get wrecked by something. You spam creatures, you get taken out by a board wipe. You spam spells, you get taken out by Thalia. So, that's something that I really... I'm really enjoying about this format, is that it has grown up. So, let's see if I can get a Blast off the top. That would be lovely, but... Darn it. I was hoping to use Tamiyo to get Blast. This'll work fine. I'm going to... Excavator into Oath. That should gain some life. I do lose some life playing my land, but gain some life back and kill the Branch Walker. So think I can cast my Titan yet. Now I will be able to. So, I'm going to cast Mox. And you know what's really cool about what's happening right now? Is I'm not even comboing. I'm just playing a 6/6. So I'm just going to basically get rid of my entire graveyard. I'm going to leave the Mox in there just because it is so important to combo. Unfortunately, I had to get rid of the Kethis. That was sad, but gotta do it. They're empty-handed. I've got a graveyard with a number of cards in it and a 6/6, and I'm at 24 life. So, and I've got a Jason hand in the battlefield. So, At this point, the game's kind of coming to an end. But I just want to acknowledge, I didn't combo here. I just played giant threats and filled my graveyard. So that's something that this deck can do over the Breach combo, and we've seen it a number of times. I saw it against the Gruul decks. I actually haven't comboed at all yet. I've just played a bunch of threats, and it's been great. So, another Lazav. I'm going to draw from Jace first. Because what I might do with Lazav is I might try to Kethis here, if there's a Kethis in my graveyard. So there's a Teferi, there's a Kethis. So I could potentially Kethis here. Get that land in the graveyard. Now, a difference between this deck and Breach again is with Breach, you can use those lands to exile, whereas Kethis only exiles legendaries. So putting a land into your graveyard doesn't fuel Kethis. It does fuel Uro, but not Kethis. So in fact, I guess you could say that Uro and Kethis don't fight against each other, whereas Uro and Breach do. I'm going to get in, gain a life, draw a card, etc. I think at this point, I can't really see anything that they might draw that's going to get them out of the problem. So I'm going to be a little bit more conservative. I'm just going to continue to gain life, continue to draw cards with the Titan. So, get to put a land into play. So that means I can Lazav into Kethis, and I believe I can actually combo now. So, I'm going to use the wrong ability here. Turning Lazav into something, but I will cancel and get the right one. And at this point, now I'm going to be able to combo, but they kind of see the writing on the wall. So, shouldn't have exiled my Uro, but point is, now I've got a bunch of legendary spells. Can float and start casting stuff. So, and each one is going to allow me to fill the graveyard, and they concede. So, you know, I guess in that match I did combo, but ultimately it was the mid-range plan that gave the win, which I think is super sweet. A good combo deck should be able to attack on different axes. The Team of Breach, I think, does the comboing better, but this can do multiple things. So, feeling pretty good. Now we'll have to withstand them on the draw. Let's see what kind of hand I get. Yeah, this hand seems great. Got all my lands, and got a Teferi and a Tamiyo. I think when I was going through this, this is the point when I've got to confess something. I have fallen into the habit of calling Teferi Tefri, and it is really funny because there's clearly two E's in his name. I have a habit of making fun of people for a while, and then I start imitating them, and then I just do it. I used to live in New Hampshire, and I had friends. Maybe I told this story. I don't know if I told this in the post-game or in the actual thing, so if I said it twice, that's... you just have to deal with it. Everybody said, you know, that's wicked awesome. And I used to make fun of them. Oh my lord. That's too Field of the Ruins. That's rough. Well, it's not going to hurt me too much, because I can get an island, which is good. I actually put an island in the deck for this specific reason. But they do have two, so that could hold me back a little bit. They are able to get essentially unlimited lands here. So this is a big deal. This is a big deal. They just wastelanded me. Better than wastelanded me. They paid 2 mana to go search up a basic land of their own. So now they know they don't have any more basic lands left, which is kind of a big deal. And I've got no place. They're making land drops, drawing cards, and there's nothing I can do about it. So I want to put that um, blue-black land in. I almost want to say Underground Sea, but that's not actually, that's the old dual lands. Okay, it's not Branch Walker. Okay, got a chance. If I can bounce that Wild Growth Walker, I should be in the game here. Should be in the game. Wonder what they have. Stop looking at my... Oh my word. Assassin's Trophy? Are you kidding me? They just triple wastelanded me. And at this point, there's nothing really I can do here. I can play a Breeding Pool. That wasn't even a good... Why would I even use that? That doesn't even let me cast a fairy on turn 3. Oh, I'm a bad player. I guess I can. I can still test Hallowed Fountain. But they're going to have a giant Wild Growth Walker, and they're swinging for a lot of damage. So, nice job for my opponent. You know what? I normally don't like these just mindless play green creatures and attack, but this isn't mindless. They switched from a combo deck. Maybe the Explorer package was in their deck in the pre-board, but that was really nice pivot there. Really well played. And I finally got out the Teferi, but it was too late. So, really well played. That was impressive. I appreciate that happened to me, and that they used land destruction, which I think is super sweet. So, against Ricardo MS Laura, I'm gonna keep. I know I just got screwed on 2 lands, but this is a game 1, so I'm assuming that most decks aren't gonna have a lot of land destruction in the first game. But I also have Fibblethip, so I think that's relevant to note. We have Teferi, Oath. They're pretty good against any aggressive deck, and we've also got Diligent Excavator against some of the mid-rangey decks. So, unfortunately, I have Jace in the opening hand. The interesting thing about Jace, these graveyard decks, is with Tameo, I can actually go get decks that are... no, I can't go get decks. I can go get cards that are put into the graveyard. So, I do think it's... I think it's... There's a lot of cool synergies going on. I'll probably... Okay, I do draw a land, so I'm just going to go Diligent Excavator here. Excavator? Man, I just can't talk. And ultimately, no matter what they do here, maybe they'll kill Excavator. Nope, Thought Erasure. Okay. Always got it. Probably take Teferi. In Historic, I really don't think that Teferi is that much of a problem, whereas in Standard, I would argue that he's not good for the format, although he does keep like flash decks from being a thing. In Historic, there's just so many... I definitely should have played the Breeding Pool there. But there's just so many different axes of decks interacting, and I think what I want to do is just play Jace here. Because even if they don't counter it, then I'm good. If they do counter it, then it goes to the graveyard. So put stuff in the graveyard, and they got nothing. No counter spells, anyways. Looks like they are just blue-black control, not Esper, which is nice to see. So no Teferis, and I'm gonna get in for some damage. Oops, nope, they are Grixis control. Okay, so Bolus is going to make me discard a card. I might just get rid of the Breeding Pool, maybe. Oh, or the Oath of Ka. That actually makes more sense. Basically does nothing. Huh. So, I probably just need to go off here. I've got 2 Mox, I've got a Diligent Excavator, I've got a number of legendary cards in the graveyard. I can mill myself a little bit through Jace. Okay, I just put some lands in the graveyard. It was essentially useless, but I'll be able to Kethis here and then Mock. So I'm essentially going to put 4 cards in the graveyard. So there's already 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 legendaries. So I can activate his ability twice. Okay, no legendaries there. This is one of the weaknesses of the Kethis deck is when it's comboing, is you are hoping that you do mill the legendary spells. And got nothing there. I can cast Oath of Gaia here, though, before I even use his ability. Okay, and he just concedes. Whether I was able to go off or not, I don't know. I assume I probably would have been able to, but my graveyard wasn't that full. I had a lot of just kind of trash in there. I probably at some point would have been able to cast Uro, which would have filled up the graveyard even more. But I don't really have a lot of defense against that other than Thalia. Oh, and Ashiok. So my goal with Ashiok against these blue-black control decks, they're not putting a lot of pressure on you. And in the previous video that I was using with Teamer Breach, I realized that they can very easily just unmoored ego your win con. In this case, it would be Kethis. So I think what I want to do this match is mill myself to a point where I can start comboing, and then I'm going to start milling them. And Ashiok functions very well in the mill them category in the long game. I think it does. So and ultimately, if they get rid of my Kethis, I can still mill myself, get Jace, and win that way. So I have 3 Tameo. Tameo's just, man, Tameo's such a great card. It's so great in these combo decks. So, okay, I've got Thalia. So I'll be able to go Thalia into Ashiok. So, seems pretty good. Seems pretty good. Well, now I've got Diligent Excavator and Teferi. Wow, okay. So I've got a nice top of my deck coming up. And Thought Erasure. So I think they got to take the Thalia here, just because it's going to disrupt their plan a lot, unless they go the Nicol Bolas route. But still, then they can't cast the 5 mana Planeswalker Bolas on turn 5. So they tend to play Bedevil as one of their removal spells or Cast Down, and neither of them can they play on turn 3. They'd have to play them on turn 4, which would just kind of feel bad. So they take Thalia. That was the right play. And pass the turn. See what they got. I think you want to use your fetch land there first, but okay. So I think the right play would be to take Teferi. Although I don't think Grixis. One of the cool things is how control decks have changed up. So blue-white control tends to play a lot of board wipes and counterspells, because that's the only way they can interact with your game plan is to counter your stuff and to wipe it. Teferi and Elspeth Conquers Deaths allows a little bit of spot removal. Esper can do the spot removal thing better, yes, but they too rely on board wipes and counterspells. Esper adds and discard. Grixis kind of loses the counterspell thing and focuses on spot removal, which I think is really interesting. They do have fewer board wipes because they maybe they run Ritual of Soot, but that only kills small things. So they have to focus on individual removal spells, which I think just the fact that control decks are different based on the different colors that they use is super sweet. It doesn't matter what individual, I mean, the individual cards you use are different, but even more so is what style of deck that you are. So Grixis is going to focus a lot more on discard and individual removal spells than like blue-white, Jeskai. Haven't really seen Jeskai control much. That's kind of an older style control in like modern and whatnot. So got the Ashiok down, which means now they can't use their fetch land, which I just noticed that now. If they use their fetch land, the land just goes bye-bye. So they may be kicking themselves. I didn't notice that at the time. I believe that's what Ashiok's ability does. It keeps them from searching their library. So,
I know I noted this somewhere.
not really sure what to look for here. I just kind of naming stuff. Just kind of want to fill the graveyard. Uro's fine because it's two threats that, wow, my graveyard is super full. And my opponent's not really doing much. So, we've got a full grip. They've got a fetch land that doesn't work. They can't target me with discard. Wow, I didn't even notice that. My Planeswalkers completely shut down their plan. So, that's round 4 ends in victory. All right, I hope that commentary was enjoyable. The deck's super sweet. And the thing I like about the deck a ton is it's a combo deck, but it's also a mid-range deck. So sometimes the combo, if you need to just win now, you can do that. Like against the Grixis control deck. I'm not sure if I was going to be able to combo, but I was going to be able to take a go at it, and I might have been able to. But even if you can't combo, you're playing Teferi, you're playing Oath of Kaya, you're playing a 6/6 for 4, for 3. You're playing Lazav, which Lazav can be turned into an Uro very easily. It can be turned into any of these. So, yeah, it's a sweet deck. So if you want to try a combo deck that's not as linear as the Teamer Breach deck, I kind of want to try a merging of these two, use this core of Teferi, Oath of Kaya, etc., and play Breach. So it might be a 5-color. Jeez, that's going to be rough. But anyways, so that's it for this video, and I'll have another one sometime soon. Bye for now.